some very good reasons to take a personality inventory, and especially to be aware and knowledgeable about what a personality inventory is and what it is not, as well as understanding how it might likely be used in business. Of course, there is the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and there are many, many other types of personality traits, personality assessments, or personality inventories. They're referred to in many different ways. The important thing is to be familiar with a number of very frequently used personality inventories, especially the Myers-Briggs, so that you understand what you may be asked to take in a job or interview situation, what that may mean, and how or when that will typically be used in assessing you as a job candidate or a worker or as a candidate for any number of things. Understanding how you rank on the various measures of suitable strengths, weaknesses, and personality traits will be important, but it's especially important to remember that these are basically descriptive measures. They look at a style of behavior, a set of behavioral patterns, and each style has fairly unique strengths and opportunities for growth or continuous improvement. So in a position of someone who's trying to effectively utilize a personality inventory, it will be important to know how best to apply what you learn about your personal tendencies, what your style is, in other words, your traits, your personality style, so that you can adapt them if necessary to meet the needs or expectations of the situations you may find yourself in or the people with whom you're interacting. But again, keep in mind these are traits and tendencies. So one of the things these will help you to do is not only to understand your personal traits and tendencies, but you'll be able to start recognizing similar traits and tendencies in others, or opposite traits and tendencies. That will help you to read a variety of situations better and to more effectively communicate or address the expectations of any situation. It will also help you to identify areas of your personality that may not be generally perceived as suitable for a specific job category or situation, and will also allow you to develop additional skill sets based upon your career goals. Keep in mind that we actually have a lot of ability as human beings to change even our natural reaction to a variety of situations with enough determination, passion, desire, commitment to changing those things. They can definitely be accomplished. So what you learn about yourself can certainly change, and it's a good opportunity for growth and development if you're committed to developing certain traits or tendencies. And I would give an example of crossing our arms. We naturally cross our arms left over right or right over left. If someone says to you, you need to cross your arms the opposite way, you can certainly do that. It's going to feel very awkward at first, but once you train yourself to do that, it will become a much more natural tendency. And so the same thing can be true of personality traits and the types of traits and tendencies that are measured through these personality inventories. In describing how these may be used from a management perspective, they're typically used in instances where the candidate is unknown or presents a challenge of some sort. And it may be one way for an interviewer, an employer, or another interested party to assess the likelihood of success based upon the requirements of the job or the situation. This is one tool in a large arsenal of tools that allows employers and other managers to minimize the risk of the unknown. It allows them to zero in on some specific tendencies that are likely to make you more or less successful in a particular situation. It's a way that they can more quickly develop a sense of trust and confidence in the predictability of your behavior and your reactions in the situations in which you're likely to find yourselves. It's important to get a broad perspective of yourself and remember that a personality inventory is only one component of understanding yourself and only one method of predicting success in any particular job or situation. So do not rely solely on a personality assessment or really any one source of assessing traits, skills, and tendencies, because many of these are very general assessments, very general descriptors, and can actually be a weak predictor of success in certain circumstances. So those who really want to be successful in a particular job or a particular situation will find a way to do so. So don't let one tool minimize your opportunity for future development or future success. A passion for your work is truly the best predictor of success when you have the required education and the required skills. So when the required skill set and education are in place, all that's really lacking is the passion and commitment of the person to achieve what they're trying to achieve. One of the ways I would suggest that you help to hone your skills in a particular area, help to develop yourself in ways that will help you to achieve your goals, is to ask people you trust for candid feedback. This could be asking previous employers, friends, coworkers, teachers, or even family to help you to identify your 3 greatest attributes and the 3 areas where they think you can enhance your skills, traits, or tendencies for a specific job description or a specific situation. By asking for a specific number of suggestions, in this case 3, they will be sure to list all 3, both on what they might consider the positive and the negative side of your question. That way, they'll be sure to give you both the attributes of your personality that they see as very positive, but also the enhancement opportunity areas. If you reinforce that you are actually looking for areas where anyone might see something they could perceive as not being a good fit for a specific vocation or situation, the people you're trusting to give you feedback are more likely to view it as a general suggestion rather than a criticism or critique of you personally. So they'll be more likely to do that for you, to help you out and give suggestions knowing that they will be accepted in the spirit in which they're intended. Also, it can be very helpful to ask people you trust to describe the attributes of a person they would want to hire for a position or a vocation or a career, such as the one in which you hope to be successful. Finally, I would say you need to do an honest self-assessment. You don't want to be overcritical, but you do need to really look at yourself as objectively as possible. Be aware of situations where you may be likely or tempted to fall into an undesirable response, reaction, habit, or pattern of response. So, for example, recognize if you tend to talk too much and really take a look at situations you're in after the fact and even while you're in them to ensure that you're putting strategies in place to minimize what you've recognized as potential weaknesses in yourself. Your speed of speech, interrupters to your speech, like, being a defensive person, going on the defensive with responses, those are very frequently made mistakes in social and business interactions. And also, I would say not listening adequately is a key element to be aware of, because if you are really concentrating on your own responses, you may have a tendency not to listen as effectively as you truly need to the other person or people in the room, and you may have a tendency not to read your environmental cues as effectively as you need to. So I would encourage you to honestly self-assess your strengths and weaknesses and to always continue working on self-improvement. That's something that throughout our careers and throughout our lives, we can never lose sight of that. We are human beings, and there is almost always room for improvement in every situation.